Am I the a-hole for exposing my half-sister's lies about our childhood? I, 24F, have a half-sister, 27F, we'll call her Taylor. My dad had weekend visitation with Taylor at our house until I was 8, and it was the worst. She bullied me really badly anytime I saw her, to the point that I would scream every time my dad even mentioned her coming over. Even if we were kept apart, she would break my things, upset my pets, and tell lies about me. Every week her mom would end up in the kitchen screaming at my parents. Taylor's mom died when she was 11. Her mom didn't have any family able to take her in, and nor did my dad. My dad was the only one who could get custody. When I was told about this, I freaked out. Screaming, crying for hours, calling my grandparents and demanding to live with them, all of it. My mom wasn't willing to have Taylor in the house on that basis, and I'm pretty sure she said she would move out if my dad pushed the issue. Taylor ended up being sent to boarding school the next year, and she would go to stay with other members of my dad's family during breaks. When I was 14 my parents divorced, and I would see Taylor every few months at my dad's during school breaks. I'd learned to stand up for myself and she'd grown up so there was no bullying, but we'd bicker, she was hostile and I never backed down. I didn't see her much after she went to college, and then I went to college far away as well. We now live in the same small city. I moved here in March. It's the kind of place where everyone from each generation knows of each other. I had never encountered Taylor socially and never mentioned knowing her, but I had met her boyfriend and his friends are part of my larger social group. The other night, I was at a party and Taylor and her BF were there as well. We made eye contact and waved, but she pretty much avoided me all night. During the night, our mutual friends asked how I know Taylor, and I said we are half-sisters. They all looked super uncomfortable and I pressed for an explanation. Basically, Taylor's been telling everyone that she was homeless as a kid because her stepmother and half-sister hated her and demanded she be shipped off to boarding school and made her dad ignore her. Were it not for the fact that it was obviously going to come out sooner or later that we are related, I probably wouldn't have bothered to set the record straight. As it was, I'm going to be around these people for a long time, and I didn't feel I should have had to walk around burdened by the weight of her lies. So, I told the group the context. She called me yesterday to yell at me. Apparently, she's being ostracized from the group, her relationship is in trouble, her career opportunities are in jeopardy, etc. I don't see how any of this is my fault because she's the one who lied, but according to some people I should have been a bit more gentle in my retelling of the facts because it's her experience and I've basically blackballed her. Edit, I didn't have space for this, but just to clarify what I actually said to the friends. I explained that the reason my mom didn't want Taylor to live with us was because of the bullying, and that when they split my dad still didn't have Taylor live with him, and that I only stayed with him on weekends. Taylor told them I moved in with my dad so that she couldn't. I also told them it wasn't true that I told my dad not to finance Taylor's business when she was 20, because I didn't. That was pretty much the gist of it. Edit 2. It was suggested I add this from the comments. I know the answer to these. My mom didn't say to send her to boarding school. What my mom said was, Taylor is not living in this house with my daughter, if that means we split, then we split. My dad didn't want to be a full-time parent by himself, so he stayed with my mom, and since he didn't have any other family Taylor could live with for various reasons, he sent her to boarding school. My dad never cut contact with Taylor. He visited her at school, it was about an hour away, and sometimes he'd see her at other relatives' places during school breaks. When he moved out, Taylor would occasionally spend the day and maybe one break a year at his place.
Everyone sucks here. Her account of being homeless because her stepsister and stepmother hated her and wouldn't allow her in their home was essentially the truth. The adults in that situation should have done much more to create a better situation for you both. You didn't deserve to be bullied or terrorized in your own home, but she was young, clearly had awful parenting, and she needed more too. Realizing you didn't look great according to Taylor's account, I definitely think you handled it poorly. You moved to her city, joined up with her friend group, and when telling your side of the story en masse, you should have been more gentle and even perhaps more neutral, acknowledging you were both children when all this went down. Honestly, despite sounding like a bit of a **kid as a kid, I really feel bad for Taylor because she was by all accounts abandoned by her family and is now on the outs from a large friend group. I don't know, it feels like a tough situation. I know throwing Taylor away wasn't a solution, but she terrorized Op to the point where even a mention of Taylor coming would make Op scream, and Op was just a kid, so was Taylor, I know, but clearly the bullying very badly affected Op and her mom was doing what's best for her daughter. I do also sympathize with Taylor. She lost her mom and she couldn't see her dad for a long time, and we don't know her experience in boarding school, but she did also keep something important to the story hidden. Being randomly abandoned vs being abandoned because you terrorized someone's child are very different. Plus Taylor lied about Op convincing their father not to finance Taylor's business. She painted Op in a really bad light, and I feel like Op had a right to say the truth. Honestly, I see Op as not the a-hole, and the big a-hole was the father.
Taylor should have been blaming her dad and maybe stepmother, not her sibling.
Exactly, I'd completely understand if Taylor blamed the stepmother and the father, but instead she painted him as a victim to Op and her mom when it's kinda the opposite. The father is the biggest a-hole in this story. If Taylor wasn't such a freaking bully, she wouldn't have been sent away now, would she have? She wasn't abandoned, her mother died, for God's sakes.
Instead of addressing her problems and issues, they just shipped her away because it was easy.
She was 11. She's 27 now, and she has to carry around the things she said and did when she was 11. Her mother died, and then her father essentially didn't want her anymore because he had a new family. That is abandonment. Op needs to realize that their father failed both of them, and if they're angry they should take it out on him, not each other.